weekend. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm joined by the amazing panel from Explore Pro Tech. And then today I am bringing in one of my esteemed friends, coaches, dear friends of 5 years. Tirrell is a business owner of multiple businesses, coaches, doing coaching, real estate, investing, lots and lots of amazing things. Married to his amazing wife, Courtney. I've known Tirrell for 5 years, and he has actually been one of my coaches, and still is one of my go-to mentors for amazing things, including the topic we're talking about today, which is life operating principles, LOP for short. And I'm going to let Tirrell explain that. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and wonderful to see everybody on this mega magical Make It Happen Monday. How about that? I love the name of the podcast, Coffee Shop. And the reason is, I started drinking coffee at about 8 years old. Yes, 8 years of age. We used to walk to elementary school, and we used to walk through a Wells Fargo bank. It used to be like 10 of us, acting as if we were doing business with Wells Fargo. And we would just go get our coffee to get us ready and right for the day. So I'm excited to actually be here today. Sondra, you want me to get into? Okay, good. So what I'm going to talk to you guys today about is sex. I know she said LOP, but I'm going to talk to you guys about sex. What is sex? It is simplified equals execution. Okay? Simplified equals execution. My coach came up with this phrase many, many years ago, but that leads us into life operating principles. Because you, me, we, and us, we have a operational process that you and I have learned about in our life that has gotten you, me, we, and us to where we are today. And that may be actually really, really good. And it may be not so good. I've been with my wife for over 20 plus years. And the beauty with my wife is she stuck around when I was nothing. I had a multi-million-dollar business, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I ventured off and started several other businesses, and I didn't know what I was doing, Peter. I I thought I did, but I really didn't. And eventually I lost over $4 million, 4.8 to be exact. And I told her, because she was my girlfriend at the time, you may want to jump off the ship. She said, why? I said, because I see the Titanic sinking. She said, no, I'm going to stick around. I see some potential. And thank God she did, because she eventually became my wife. And I learned through her systems of operation. I didn't know that, but I watched and I studied her. And she loves doing puzzles. Anybody do puzzles? Okay, oh, fantastic. So, you can get puzzles that are 50 pieces, 100 pieces, 5,000 pieces. And what does puzzles do? Puzzles give you patience. As you develop the framework that you and I have of our life. Now, I'm using puzzles as an example because we're talking about simplifying what you and I do in life. Now, one of my students yesterday was talking to another group of ours yesterday. And I asked them, I said, hey, can you share with the people how we took you from $100,000 a month to $200,000 a month? He said, I realized it was not just the destination, but the journey. Well, what's the journey of you and I and we in our lives? Is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Are we working to develop our hard and soft skills that are needed in our life and business? LOPs is a framework that you and I should be developing along our life in our business. I asked my wife, how do you put the puzzles together? Because on some days she does it in 3 hours, and other days she does it in 5 days. And I'm fascinated. Now, I don't do puzzles, but I am fascinated how she does this. So I asked her one day, I said, how do you go about putting these puzzles together? Because some of them are very, very complex. And some of them are thousands of pieces that she loves. Some of them have different color schemes. Some of them are very interesting, like our businesses. Are you innovating it? So I said, how do you go about putting this together? She said, baby, it's actually really easy. She said, I create the borders first. Pamela, you get. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, we have to look at the picture first. Well, how do you go about doing that? You look at the picture. Well, that sounds pretty easy. How do you look at your business? Well, what do you mean? I have a product and a service. I know what it is. Yeah, but do you study it? I got so tired of losing and hanging around the wrong people. I said, something is just not right. I said, I feel like I'm doing all the right things, but I keep running into the same situations. Do you know I decided when I decided, okay, let's create a framework for my life. Because if you and I can create a life operating principle for our life, doing business is really, really easy. And it's fun. You can have a really, really good time with who you want to do business with. So I started creating this operational manual for myself. Now I keep it close to me. It's called the TMM Personal Operational Manual. And when I run into issues or challenges personally that I may not have ever experienced, I go to my manual and I said, have I ever experienced this before? Have I ever run into these challenges before? And I start creating the puzzle. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Because when you and I can create the framework of our lives, then it doesn't matter about the businesses that we're creating because we use the same framework to help us get clear on what the picture is in you and I life. So what you and I should do is start creating a framework that allows us to be effective in life. Guess what? If you're getting the same results that you're getting 3-5 years from now, you probably need to change the framework. You probably need to change the operational workflow of how you operate. So I said, baby, what else do you actually do besides the framework? She said, okay, you're asking too many questions now. Because now I had to tell you the secrets. And that's all about, you have to start color scheming the puzzle. You have to start putting them in different pockets. Now, some of those pockets you may be an expert in, and some of them you may not. If you're not good with your financial management and your receipts, maybe you need to get someone to help you. If you're not good with innovating your product, maybe you need assistance. If you're not good with onboarding and scheduling and organizing, maybe you need someone like Sondra. Organizing. But what you and I do to really, really scale goes back to you and I having a lot of sex. Now, I'm going to give my coach, John Brown, the credit because he came up with this acronym that was marvelous. And he said, you have to have a lot of sex during the week. I said, whoa. But when we think about it, when we simplify and it equals execution, we don't need to complicate a whole lot of stuff unless we want to. And we have to have a team of professionals that are going about innovating and making an impact and influence in life. And if you and I don't, unfortunately, and fortunately, our personal life impacts our business. Whether we like it or not, it is what it is. So I didn't know that I was creating this framework 20 years ago to help out with the SOPs that will eventually run our businesses. So SOPs, standard operating procedures, as you guys already know, is very similar to our LOPs. But we never knew that if we don't set the tone of our lives and create operational accountability in our thoughts, in our attitude, we're going to keep getting the same results from our triggers and traumas. Now, I'm going to go to the Healing Institute. Right? If we're not whole in some form or fashion, how can we influence others? How can we impact and get the best out of people who want to be on our team? Sondra? So when we go about doing this, guys, we have to look at our life operating principles. We have to look at our morning routines and evening routines. We have to have fix and flex schedule. What do you mean fix and flex? Well, we have a general schedule. I'm sure most of us do. We start off Mondays and we go through the week. We have a set schedule. We have certain goals. In the mornings, we do this. We may make a few follow-up phone calls. We get ready for the following day. But what happens when there's an emergency? Does it throw you off for 2 days? Does it throw you off for the entire week? Life happens, right, Sondra? So then you and I have to go into audibles. Audibles means priority. Okay, I'm going to go there because this may hurt a little bit because we've been putting Band-Aids on things that we need proper healing from. Peter, I see your hand, sir. Did you have a question?
Oh, no, it's all good. I'll enter the conversation when it's time. It's all
Okay,
good. You carry
you
on.
got it. You got it. When you and I can create value systems, we protect ourselves from ourselves. Hear what I just said. We protect ourselves from ourselves. Many, many years ago, I realized that I was creating my own errors. I had a lot of friends, and I mean a lot. Because, when you're doing good in life, people are attracted to you. They love what you're doing. It's inspiring. So if you and I don't have a value system of operation, how do you know who to partner with? How do you know how to team with? Who's going to give you the best outcome and have your value system that is appropriate to your business, product, or service? And when I say value, yes, it's integrity. It's about building character. But how can you and I tell others to build character when we're still facing our own personal temporary challenges and issues? See, you can put on a tuxedo when we're here, but how about when you go home? How about when you are alone? Are you thinking great thoughts about you? I really do I have an amazing self-image of myself. And I have failed a lot. I'm really probably one of the most humble people that you will meet. And you can ask probably Sondra that. I like to be in the back. I like other people to shine. Because you can tell a fruit by the tree it bears. So as we move forward, think about having sex more. Think about the simplicity of you and I life. I don't take any credit from that. But what we're doing is we're creating operational workflows that help us master our life. And when you and I can master our life, we can master our businesses in a way that you can't even imagine. Okay, I'm going to put a pin in it right there so that we can take any questions and have a great conversation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Tirrell. We'll see how many flags we get on YouTube for saying sex 5,000 times today. It's like,
oh, that's fine.
We are rated for adults, so it's fine. It's fine. I love that you connect everything. I know you had lots of bits, but you put the puzzle together. So you do puzzles, sir. Just in your wordplay, for sure, for sure. Peter, come on in the conversation. So comments, questions?
Yeah, I saw something the other day that was actually quite interesting. It was a puzzle challenge, and the entire puzzle was satin black. There was no picture.
Whoa!
So it seemed like quite a challenge, and I think it's quite. I think the timing of seeing this challenge was actually quite appropriate, because I think sometimes life's like that. There is a puzzle, but we can't seem to see the picture, and that's when we need to take the step backwards. Because if you can't see the picture, you're just too close. You're just way too close, and your vision becomes blurred, and where things fit and how they work don't seem to make sense.
Yeah.
You're just too close. And I think sometimes that's when we need to rely on those around us. But that's the tricky part.
Yes.
Who do we rely on?
That's good.
And who do we choose? And how much do we rely on them? Do we rely on them to do it for us? Do we rely on them to teach us how to do it for ourselves? Do we, there's so many ins and outs of how we create our spaces. But I think when it gets to that point of being blurred, we need that backing. And I know that, entrepreneurship, the spirit of entrepreneurship is, in my mind, basically the spirit of people being innovative and creating ways of doing something that may have been done before in a very different way to achieve maybe a similar or different result. And we can monetize those spaces. So it takes a very innovative mind. It takes a very special person. At the same time, can we create those processes in our spaces that make our lives a lot easier? The answer is yes, we can. I know a lot of us, and I know especially me, and I remember having a conversation with Sondra a while back where she was like, well, what's your standard operating procedure? I was like, well, good gosh, how am I supposed to know that? Did I have a standard operating procedure? Yes, I did. Did I know that I had one? No, I did not. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, and it happened to fly in a very particular pattern, and it doesn't become a standard operating procedure until you actually document it, create a procedure that is the procedure that if we are going through that same process, that is the procedure that we are using to do that because it works. But then, Tirrell, something that you said, if you are getting the same results within the next 3 years, then you're clearly doing something wrong. I think we should shorten that 3 years to 6 months.
That part.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
And we should have a system, absolutely. But sometimes we need to look at life from a 32,000 feet level and recognize we are where we are because of who we are. And we don't change overnight because many of our triggers and traumas come up when we least expect it. And so we stay in our comfort zone. We don't create operational processes and procedures that help us be unreasonable with ourselves and life. So I absolutely agree with you on that, Peter. There should be an operational process and procedure that allow you, me, we, and us to monitor and evaluate our progress every single day and week and month. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very big on review. Very, very, very big on review. So the quarterly compass review will be in January, February, March. So very big on that. And definitely doing a lot of tweaks. Mr. L, come on in the conversation.
All right. I just want to thank Tirrell for this awesome presentation, which is, for me, not just a presentation, but for me, it's all about life's lessons. LOP, whoever thought you would have to have an LOP? That's really personal. Yes, SOP, we all know about it, but something that's as personal as that, I would have never dreamt of anything like that. And I think that's where you hold yourself responsible to say, yes, I've got to do this. Yes, I've got to achieve. And this is the way that I'm going to achieve this. And I think it was yesterday, I was sitting down and saying, we are into a new year. I've got all these events that are coming up. And it's all about, my sales style is really by networking. So it's all about networking, going in, building relationships, and thereafter selling to the people. Now, how do I know that I'm successful? Do I have a procedure that I follow to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be successful at the end? And I didn't have anything like that. So this is now saying to me, you need to now start having something for yourself, which will guide you in whatever you're doing, so that your event will then be more profitable than just going out and forming friendships, partnerships, and connecting with people, and then at the end of the day, getting nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So this, Tirrell, thank you very much for it. I really, really thank you for it.
Now, tell me your business name.
I'm in radio. It's Radio Pulpit. So the events that I do, it's for Radio Pulpit.
Okay. Tell me your mission statement.
Pardon?
Tell me your mission statement. Do you know it?
No.
Okay.
Not out of my head. I've got to go look for it.
Oh, no. It's okay. Most people don't. I've spoken with major companies. And the first thing I ask their executives, tell me your mission statement. Don't read it. Tell me it. Because what you, me, we, and us do, and this is all of us, we don't have a mission mantra that we equip ourselves with personally and then business. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, focused, disciplined, and enthusiastic. I am bold. I am unstoppable. I am undeniable. We all have a mission statement, whether we know it or not, because it is the values and systems that help give us the GPS to our destination in life. And many times when we have a team, they don't know it either. And if you have a mission statement and you're not threading it into the fabric of your operation, what are they making decisions on, Peter? How do you know that they are living up to the standard that you have set for the company and operation? So when there's temporary challenges, and by the way, they do come up weekly, if not daily, because you're growing, you're scaling. We have to move our operation, scale it back, recalibrate, look at the mission. I had a mission statement in front of me last week that was so long. I said, oh my gosh, I know. I asked the CEO, tell me the mission. He told me the deliverables. No. We have to create an operational workflow that gives predictable results. And if you don't have that, it just means that you need to look at what we have so we can properly determine your life and the business.
I love that. I love that, T. I think the biggest word there is stop and look. Stop and look. Stop and look. I think we get too much into the water that we never look at the horizon behind us, the waves coming at us, because we're too in it to see it. Like Peter said, everything gets very blurry. I know I get pulled in 1,000 directions. It feels like that. So to stop and look and figure out, where you're at, where you want to go, where you've been, and all those things. Miss Permelia, come in on the conversation, my dear. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. This is just really amazing. I'm so glad that I popped on today, and also lovely to meet you, Tirrell. And Permelia Parham with the Healing Institute. We're an online worldwide hub of holistic practitioners. We have our mission. Our mission is to heal the world. So it's a big job, but we feel we're up for it. We also have an amazing tagline. It's service with love.
Mm.
So I just love what you're saying around LOP, because oftentimes I think as entrepreneurs, maybe not as much, but as you know, people are working for somebody else, but we often think that our life is different from our work life. And it's so not true. That they have to be integrated together. And you know, the phrase, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I love that. And so it's so true. Like, how do you do life? If you're doing life a certain way and you think you're going to do your business a different way, that's not going to work. So, yes, beautiful little nuggets. I've been taking notes here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And healing, I love that. I love that concept, because how do you know when you need to heal? Sometimes we don't even know. And like Sondra said, sometimes we need to step back and recalibrate.
And ask
Because,
yourself questions. I'm always curious, and
yeah,
I'm always asking questions.
yeah.
I say often what you got in trouble for as a child is your gift. So I was always in trouble for asking too many questions and being too sensitive.
Mm.
So that now, of course, works very well for me in my business. But being aware, that's a great question, Tirrell. Like being aware, being open to looking at your life and your business when something's not working, that's the red flag, or that's the little tap on the shoulder, or the 2x4 up the side of the head. Depends what you need.
And using our gift of emotions, because our emotional barometer is our trigger, if you would,
Yeah.
to give us personally, something's not right.
That's
And
right.
and many of us have different thermometers, because in my house, my heating thermometer is like at 72. Yours may be 68. Others may be 78. And when the emotional barometer goes off, you need to pause, reflect, and ask yourself a series of questions. What's going on? Let me give you one example real quick. My wife for years used to say this word, uh-oh. And Peter, I would be like, why did she say that? It irritates me. It makes me angry. And I said, that's petty. Get over it. Well, no, I can't get over it. And for years, I dealt with it. And then one day, a couple years ago, recent, 4 or 5 years ago, she said it. And I said, why does that trigger me? And a light bulb went off. Do you remember when your mother used to could not pay the bills? Do you remember when you couldn't eat? Her first words was, uh-oh. I just bridged the gap. I said, baby, I got it. I got it. She said, what you got? I know why when you say, uh-oh, it's a pet peeve. She said, I mean nothing to it. That's how I grew up. Uh-oh means something really, really good. See the narrative? We don't know sometimes. Sometimes it's just communication. barriers that you and I have based on our experience in life. And you and I make a judgment call that may be preventing you to pivot. So we all have life operating principles.
For sure.
We just have different recipes. That's all.
Exactly. Love that. I love that, T. A question from the live YouTube show is, do you document your LOPs? And if so, what are the main factors you look at that affect your business? Now, I already know that you document, obviously, because you have a binder. Okay, so the second question. You muted yourself, my dear.
Absolutely. So I document my LOPs and SOPs 100%. 100%.
So the
All
second
of my-
question is, what are the main factors you look at that affect your business?
The main things that I look for in my business is fiscal, of course. What's the money that's coming in? And I back into that, and it all comes down to me and my business is contact relationships. If I'm not having contact relationship with people, I don't get appointments, I don't get leads, I don't get those items. I specifically carve out my mornings from, I'm usually on the phones from 7 to about maybe 11 a.m. usually, unless I have an appointment or things of that nature. That's most important to me. Everything else is very, very easy to do administrative wise, all the operational processes, automations, everything else. So to me, having one-on-ones is the key metric that I use. And that normally transcends into money.
Love it, love it, love it, Coach T. Peter, come on in, and then we'll start wrapping up.
Awesome. So I want to touch on two things. Number one is going to be a very short statement. Show me a person that is completely healed, and I'll show you a miracle. I do not think that there is anybody on the face of the planet that can claim that they are consistently, permanently healed. We all are born into this world. We experience life. Life scars us. We develop ways of handling what life throws at us. And when we are young, sometimes that process sticks. And as an adult, instead of it being a way to protect ourselves, it now harms us. That is natural. And that is everyone. Everyone. The moment we interact with other people, from when we're tiny tots and we're sent to school for the first time, we develop ways of handling the world. It might work then, it may not work now. I mean, great example. I could not, as an adult, go into a shopping center, and if my now wife says to me, no, we can't buy that, I cannot fall down in the aisle and throw a tantrum, because that may have worked when I was 2. But it does not work now. And if it did work now, I'd be very concerned. So that would be number one. So, if you're a person that's out there and you are like, yes, I can relate to that, then there are people that you can speak to. There are people that you can go and speak to. Permelia. You can, actually, I'm pretty sure you can go speak to Tirrell. You can go and speak to Sondra, maybe, but she might not tolerate you throwing a tantrum. So just beware. The second thing I want to touch on is why. Why do we actually take the time to have a discussion around our SOPs, our LOPs? Why are we taking the time to do that? In my mind, we're creating our spaces. We want to build, we want to grow, we want to develop. We all naturally want to be successful. We all naturally want to come to the end of our lives and look back and go, we accomplished this, we changed that, we made this impact, we left this footprint. And if we are not having these discussions, then it just makes those things just a little bit more difficult to leave your footprint behind. So having an understanding of the fact that the people that are out there are all vastly different. I am different to Sondra, Sondra's different to Tirrell, Tirrell's different to Permelia, and everybody's different from Lesetja, because Lesetja is very unique. We all are unique in very different ways, which means we're all going to do things in very different ways. So when we're creating these spaces, is there a one size fits all? The answer is no. There is no one size fits all. There is no do this very specific thing, and this is the thing that will work for you, because what might work for you might not work for me. And what might not work for me might work very well for somebody else. And I think that's where it takes somebody that is extremely well versed in the surroundings of business and the reading of people, how to actually engage with people, how to read who they are, what they're like, what they don't like, what they value, what they don't value, what they trust, what they don't trust. There's all these aspects that seem to make it so complicated. But then at the same time, we're human. We tend to complicate a lot of things that actually are really quite simple. So I think if you're out there and you're going, well, why should I do this? Well, number one, you cannot sell a business if nobody knows what the business does. So you do business. Yes, I want to sell you this business. Okay, great. You achieve this. Yes, I achieve this. How do you do that? Oh, I do not know. Great. Not sellable because it cannot be replicated. So we're creating something that can be replicated based on our own characters and our own values and our own spaces. I think it's very important that we understand that by doing this process, we're not just building out ourselves. You know, if we have employees, if we have a larger space, we're building it out not only for ourselves, but we're building it out for them. And what happens if that space needs to change ownership? Does somebody coming in know what the standard operating procedure is? Do they know what it looks like? Do they know what it feels like? Do they know what values the space was based on? Do they know? They have no clue. And they won't have a clue unless you can actually show them. And they might take the business and go, well, that doesn't work for me, and they can modify it. But that's what worked till that point, because that's what you're working on. You're working on a living document that's almost part of yourself, that as you come across things that you go, oh, that really doesn't work. That stung me. That was ouch. That was painful. Now I need to get a plaster. Now I need to create something that fixes that and that does work. Oh, that works, but it doesn't work with this. Let's change that. And that process is that of us basically just really improving ourselves and documenting it. If you're anything like me, the moment you pick up a pen or a pencil, documenting things becomes rather strange because I'm dyslexic and I can't read what I wrote. So, but that's when we have the support of the people around us. I can quite easily go to Sondra and go, I would like to document this process. And by her asking very relative questions, what are you looking to achieve? What steps do you take? Do you do this? How do you do that? Are there more steps in that part of the process? How does this work for you? And I think people that are out there that believe, okay, I'm just going to gung-ho and do business and think that they don't have a procedure. I've got news for you. You have a procedure. It's just not documented. And I think documenting something creates a lot of value. A lot of value. It creates a lot of value in the fact that it becomes more valuable to others if you sell it. It also creates a lot of value because if you're keeping it and thriving and pushing through, you're figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I think that's quite a natural process. I touched the stove, I burnt my hand. Don't do that again. Okay. Procedure number one, do not touch the stove. It hurt. We improve ourselves. We grow, we learn. And I think there is a beauty to growing and learning, but at the same time, surrounding yourself with people that are part of your journey. This is not a journey you want to do on your own. It's a very lonely journey if you try to do it on your own. So please don't do that. Sondra, back over to you before
Yes.
I grab the Bible.
I was going to say Peter's on a tangent. I love that. I love that, Peter. And that's why Explore Protect is so important. Coffee first, business later. We are definitely relationship, helping each other. That is Peter's vision and mission statement. And I know that very well from being around for 3 years. Tirrell, do you want to give us some final words? And then I will wrap us up.
Well, I think Peter said it. And that is this. What you and I are doing is a living and breathing document. That's it. Like if you are having temporary challenges in business, you can go back to your document and see whether and where you may be missing the gap. You can go back to your LOPs and see where you may be missing the gap. Everything that you and I do is a living and breathing document, either in our manual or in our head. I believe, yes, we may not be able to heal an instant entirely. I do believe that we can make major impact by being in the driver's seat of our lives. And if when you and I approach it in such a way that we can make impact and influence, listen, Uber was not the first driving company. They took a concept that already existed. So even if we're in the similar industries and services and have similar products, we can still make major impact. I don't put anything in my coffee. I drink mine black. I love coffee. It is what it is. I like the smell. I like the... So when you and I are in our businesses, we have to reflect on what the vision is daily. We have to know what our purpose is in contributing towards that. So going back to the puzzle, so when we create the framework, we can start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And when we start looking at the pieces of the puzzle, well, you can say like my wife, baby, you get to contribute. She always leaves 3 pieces. I kid you not. She leaves 3 pieces before she finishes it. And said, baby, you get to close, put the final pieces on the puzzle. I said, look at that. She's a genius. Make me feel empowered like I'm doing something. So, hey, it's a pleasure being with you guys today. Thank you for the honor to be among greatness here. You guys are amazing. And so looking forward, and maybe in the future, we can do something together.
I love that. I love that, Tirrell. We will have Tirrell's LinkedIn link in the show notes. We want to give a shout out to Susan for doing our cover, our show notes, and she turns it into a Spotify, so you can listen to us on Spotify. And you can always reach out to any of us on the panel, of course, and set up coffee chats and build relationships with us. My new quarterly compass, which is about reviewing and figuring out where you are, where you've been, what's working, not only in business, but also in life, is March 20th, either at 12 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern. The link will be in the show notes for that. We also want to give a shout out to Miss Somerville, who does a lot of behind the scenes and is Peter's SOP strategist and everything else that keeps us running at Explore Pro Tech. Peter, will you take us out, please?
Oh, awesome. You know, it's actually been such a privilege. And for anybody that's out there that's a lot like me, you need a Sondra. It's one of those things where thrive on the things that you're good at and the things that you're not. Surround yourself with people that are good at those things, but not only good at those things, but good people. You know, it doesn't help having somebody that's good at something, but they're not a good person. That's not going to help you at all. And I've taken the time to surround myself with great people. So it's a pleasure. They're right here. You can reach out to them, have conversations with them. And this is where we draw it to a close. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this coffee shop show off much like we end off every single other coffee shop show, with a statement from Nestine Buerter, which is my co-founder and now wife. as of recently. And may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true.